Welcome to another edition of BNL Coaches Corner. This week we're going to talk exclusively with BNL football, coming off a loss at Jeffersonville 21-20 last week, and looking ahead to this week's game at New Albany. We're going to be joined by BNL assistant coach Derek Barker and two BNL seniors, and we'll be right back with them after this.
For the best in exciting new cars and trucks. For the best deals on used cars. For the best in service after the sale, visit Bedford Ford Lincoln Roush.
Welcome back to BNL Coaches Corner. Joined this week by BNL assistant coach Derek Barker, his second year in charge of the offensive line of the Stars. Former player for BNL coach Steve Weber at Linton, graduated with the minors in 2009. Derek, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
The Stars are coming off a tough loss, 21-20 at Jeffersonville. How did the team handle that?
We handled it really just like we would have with the win. Kind of 24 hours to learn from it, and then we're on to New Albany.
How does a coach help a team bounce back from a tough loss like that? Because it's more mental than it is anything else.
I think you just got to kind of point out the positives. Be sure to get the areas where we can improve in there. But remember, we did a lot of good things well. I think we had about 300 yards of offense. We moved the ball. We really stopped ourselves more than Jeffersonville stopped us. So really highlight the positives, throw the negatives in there, but just let them know we're moving in the right direction. We fought like we want to see them fight there at the end of the game. Just keep working day by day.
Offensive line, how complex is the position, and with all the calls that are made on the line?
Well, if you know your left and your right, you can run our blocking scheme. That's how complex it is. It's pretty simple.
What makes a good offensive lineman? Everybody thinks, okay, big, sturdy, stout kid, he's automatically an offensive lineman. But is that really the case?
No. I think first and foremost, the key to good football at any position is playing fast. And in doing that, you got to know your assignment. And to be an offensive lineman, you got to be nasty. You got to have a little bit of a mean streak in you. We talk about not being happy with stalemates, not being happy with just getting on a guy. We want to drive him 3 to 5 yards down the field at the least, and we want a defensive lineman on their back. We want nasty players. So.
Is it tough for a kid to turn that switch on and off? We've discussed this with several different coaches, because you want your kids to be good kids, role models in the community. But like you said, when you step across the lines, you want a totally different mentality. Is that tough for a kid to do?
I think it is, especially the first couple games you play. I think the more you do it, you realize, hey, it's Friday. School ends on that Friday. That last bell rings at 3 o'clock. You got to get in game mode right there, whether it's a bus ride or whether it's coming in for a home game on the locker room. And just kind of block everything out for those 2 to 3 hours on the field on Friday nights. That's all that matters is that game.
How did you do it?
Listening to music, just kind of putting the cell phone away, leaving it at home. I was always one of the guys that I wanted to get to the locker room super early. So school got out at 3. It didn't matter what time the game was. I was in the locker room by 3:30, just mentally preparing, visualizing what I was expecting to see from film study, how I was going to handle blocking the defensive line, just getting myself mentally ready.
What is more difficult to teach, the run blocking or the pass protection?
I really think the pass protection is probably more difficult. On the run blocking, it's really just taking your first couple steps aggressively, getting your hands in the right place, and then running your feet. Whereas pass blocking, you see a lot of guys in the NFL now that are just specific pass rushers, so that's kind of flowed its way down from college to high school. And you see kids specializing on pass rushing moves, whether it's a swim move, a bull rush, a spin. There's all these different things they can throw at you, so you got to be able to handle kind of the full gauntlet of moves.
How has this group progressed from last season through the off season? It's a long off season from December until the 1st of August. How have they progressed from that point till now?
They've done a great job. Last year we had a lot stronger of linemen. We were a lot better at lifting weights in the weight room. But this year the guys really worked on knowing what they were doing, playing faster, playing with proper technique, and they've really busted their butt. And it's not just our starting 5. We're deep this year. I've got probably 10 to 12 linemen that I feel like if I need to, I can throw out there on a Friday night, whether it's for one play or for a drive or for a quarter. I think that's the biggest benefit, is just adding depth this year.
What do you expect from New Albany's defense, in particular their defensive line?
A lot of speed. Seen a lot of speed and aggression getting off the ball. Seen a couple kind of twists, stunt moves that they might run at us to try to confuse us, get us looking one way and then sneak somebody in the other way on a blitz or a twist stunt. But mainly just aggression. They're a very fast team. They're very good. So we got to be ready to block our assignment at 100 miles an hour. And I think we'll be all right.
How do you expect BNL to come back and react? This is going to be a tough road game, probably very similar to Jeffersonville last week. So how do the Stars react come Friday night?
I think they're going to react well. I mean, you get to go on the road again. We get to play on a nice field, play a conference game.
On turf.
On turf, even better. I mean, that's a big deal. I never played on turf whenever I was playing. I'd love to get out there. But, we get another shot at it. Like I said, 24 hours after that game, we were focused on New Albany. And just let it all hang out Friday night, play loose, and have fun.
Derek, we appreciate you coming on the show. We'll be right back with 2 BNL seniors after this.
Whatever your needs, Bedford Ford Lincoln Roush has the right vehicle at the right price for you. For the best deals and the best service, come visit us today. Your vehicle problems will bite the dust.
Welcome back to BNL Coaches Corner. We are joined now by 2 senior offensive linemen, Landon Kleindorfer, the starting center, and Mike Bell, the starting right tackle. Guys, thanks for being on the show this evening.
Thanks for having us.
What did the BNL football team learn from last week? A tough loss, 21-20, a couple of fumbles that were lost, not close to the goal line, a long drive that the defense gave up, and then missing the last second field goal. How do you bounce back, and what did you learn?
Well, I think it taught us a big lesson about just unity and bringing our team together. First of all, it's kind of like a family deal at the end of the game. We were talking about how it was a loss, but we were going to pick it up. And we taught us how to be a family, really. And Esteban missed the kick, and the first thing we did was pick him up because it really is a family deal. So we picked him up. Anytime anybody makes a mistake, we pick them up, and that way they know that it's not permanent. Like, they can fix that problem, and they're not going to do it again in the future.
Mike, did it take long to bounce back from that?
No, not at all. It's that night you feel awful for losing the game, but the next day you're ready to go practice, just ready to get better.
Now, after the first two games against overmatched opponents, you won very easily. Did you guys need a real test like that? Because I think that was really the first true glimpse of what the BNL football team really looks like.
Yeah, I think it was actually really good for us. It was kind of like a shot, like, hey, this is conference play. This is a completely different story, and it's time to shine. It's time to pick it up and go.
Mike, what's it really like in the trenches of the offensive line?
It's a lot of fun. It's a beatdown, really. I mean, it's nice to know that you have the guy next to you to help you if you need it and to get you up when you're down. And you just got to play fast, and you just got to outstrength the guy across from you.
Now, Landon wears number 69 and Mike number 65, numbers you normally don't see in the box score. How do you measure your success? Because you kind of toil in anonymity a little bit, and most of the time, except when there's a holding penalty, of course, people don't notice you. But how do you measure your success, and do you mind that?
It's not really a big deal. Actually, the best way to do it is just hit one of those linebackers in the mouth and put him on his back. Because it doesn't really matter if the fans know who you are, as long as the other team knows who you are and they're afraid. That's all that really matters.
Mike, how often do you really hold?
I honestly can't answer that question. I'd like to say never, but more than I'd like to.
I'm sure there's things that happen in there that people don't see, that holding and grabbing and words exchanged, things
legal.
Like that.
Yeah, it's all legal as long as you don't get caught.
Yep.
Now, before the ball is snapped, there's a lot of signals going on, a lot of communication, a lot of talking. There are things that you have to know instantly. How do you manage all that before the ball is snapped? Process all that, what's going on?
Well, I think that the best thing we've had so much time to prepare, because once football season ends, we're right back at it, like a week, a month right after. So, I mean, we've got almost an entire 6 months to prepare, and we're all out there just like grinding as hard as we can just to make sure that we know the plays, we know where we're going, and anything that's thrown at us, we're ready for.
And of course, you line up and the defense is constantly shifting, changing things on you, faking blitzes, and so there's a lot of information to process in a short amount of time, is there not?
There really is.
Yeah, you just have to trust your steps. You just have to know what you're doing and trust that you'll do it right.
Now, who's actually making the offensive line call? I believe that's you
for the most part. Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of pressure on you to come through.
Yeah, there's a few calls just based on what the linebackers are doing that are for everybody else, but for the most part, it's me.
What do you expect on Friday from New Albany? I know tough, as we mentioned, no tough road game, a very good conference opponent, probably very similar to Jeffersonville. What do you expect?
I expect fast-paced. They're going to try to hit us in the mouth, and we're going to hit them right back. We just got to fire off the ball and be aggressive. Like Coach said, he's wanting nasty linemen, and we got to be those kind of linemen.
Mike, a game on turf. You're starting to play more and more of those games because teams in the conference are adding turf. But is there anything that you have to adjust to, or is it just fun to get out there and see that kind of field that the college kids play on?
No, it's just fun to get out there and play. There's not really anything that changes. Just take steps, and I think you can get your cleats in a little better, but other than that, same thing.
Come home with maybe a few rug burns instead of grass.
It hurts a little more, but.
All right, guys, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. That wraps up another edition of the BNL Coaches Corner. Next week, we'll be back with more football. We'll talk about the New Albany game, and we'll be joined by other coaches from the BNL athletic program. We'd like to thank Pizza Hut for, once again, being our host. And until next week, thanks for watching.